How did I transform this bland old shipping container into a work of art? My name is Michelle Thevenot, and I'm a multifaceted artist from Saskatchewan, Canada. Here's how I made this mural painting. It started with a shipping container that was boring, beat up, and kind of an eyesore. Surface prep started with removing the peeling decals. Between a heat gun, a scraper, solvent adhesive remover, angle grinder, and loads of elbow grease, the stubborn decals and glue were removed. The shipping container was then pressure washed to make sure it was good and clean before starting to paint. I made a preliminary digital design before starting to paint. It was scaled to the same proportions as the shipping container, and the mock-up helped the business owners visualize and approve the project. Then I gathered paint and supplies. I used a couple different types of paint, which I'll explain as I go along in this project. Due to limited space in my workshop, I had to keep the shipping container on the trailer to work on. If it was warmer outside, I could have painted outdoors, but indoors was the solution for this project and time of year. A rolling scaffold was perfect for reaching higher up. I taped poly sheeting around the perimeter of the shipping container to protect everything else from paint overspray and drips, and I laid down cardboard on the floor. I used a computer projector hooked up to my laptop to project my design onto the shipping container. This served as a guideline for keeping everything aligned where it needed to be. The base colors I used were Bare Marquee outdoor latex paint with primer included. I used a paint sprayer to apply the base coat, which had amazing coverage and just one coat. I know it looks like a crazy rainbow to start with, but trust the process. More layers are coming. For the sky, I used Montana acrylic spray paint to gently blend together the colors of a sunrise. This line of spray paint is awesome for the brighter color selection. When spraying the paint, I made sure to wear a fresh air respirator, and it has a hose connected to a fan unit that sits outdoors to ensure a constant flow of fresh air. I find this works way better than a filtered respirator. It can be a little cumbersome being attached to this hose and moving around, but there's absolutely no paint fumes or particles going into my lungs, and I feel so much better for it. When the sky background was finished and dry, I used the projector to help guide me with the outlines of the foreground. With the corrugated surface, it was essential to focus on aligning everything from a straight-on viewpoint to minimize the distortion. To outline the projected foreground, I used an acrylic paint marker. Even as a projection, it does get blurry at this scale, so the outlines are not precise with all the details I would need for painting, but it's more or less a vague guideline for placement. To start the lettering, I used a base color of gray paint in the Bare Marquee one coat outdoor latex paint. I hand brushed the lettering and the foreground for more precise line work and to avoid overspray on that beautiful sky background. To make the letters look metallic and shiny, I used a couple different paint colors, which was needed to give it that three-dimensional look. The highlights in a light gray and then black for the shadow. The lettering definitely took a lot of time and it was meticulous. When the lettering was complete, then I was able to start on the company logo of the construction worker. I used some golden acrylic paints from the art store to bring out the vibrant orange in the crane ball. The man logo's colors are in a more muted color selection, so I was able to use colors from the Bare Marquee one coat latex paint. While painting the logo, I focused on blocking in one color at a time until all colors were applied. It wasn't perfect at first, but it was a base color to start with. On a second pass over each color, I tidied it up and added extra coverage in some areas and blended some colors together in selected areas. A third pass through each color refined the lines and finished it off nicely with touch-ups. When the man logo was complete, it was time to move on to the building silhouette. There are a lot of lines to follow, but at least it was straightforward with just a single color. I did have to do 2 coats of the black in order to cover that really bright background color. The projection guidelines weren't exactly perfect either due to resolution quality loss at a large scale, so I ended up having to kind of eyeball it and make adjustments to what I felt looked most realistic with the perspective lines and the vanishing point, which was all definitely affected by the corrugated metal. Again, I focused on the straight-on angle of viewpoint, and that's the best we could do on this surface. As tedious as it was to paint the building, it definitely was my favorite part. The steel frame building literally frames the sunrise and brings the whole design together. A couple of my favorite details included the equipment that the company uses on the job site regularly, which is a telehandler and a man lift. It's definitely starting to look epic at this point, which is what the company was going for, a big wow factor. There's my son, he is observing what's going on. And then my husband and my dog are checking in once in a while, which is super awesome. They bring me snacks and water. Now it's time for final touch-ups of the paint. Oh my gosh, it is finally almost done, which means it's time to add my signature, and I also added my social media handle on there to get some of my own marketing out there. The last step on this is to use a clear coat sealer of Sherwin-Williams anti-graffiti coating. I used a brush and a roller to apply this thick product, and I used my fresh air respirator, goggles, long sleeves, and gloves when applying this product indoors, as it has a fair share of toxicity warnings. Aside from making it easier to wash off any potential graffiti, this product also protects from UV and makes it for easier cleaning in general. With the shipping container traveling from job site to job site year-round, the salty winter road conditions and mud are definitely factors that we needed to consider. Then remove the poly sheeting, and it's time for a cleanup in my shop. The project turned out to be a huge success, and I am so proud of the final result on this. I can't wait to see it moved onto a local high-profile construction site very soon. This mural definitely brought the Secan to life, adding a pop of color and creative marketing to the company's construction site. I thoroughly enjoyed working on this large scale of painting. My expressive style of artwork thrives when I can move my whole body to create. Go big or go home, right? I look forward to the next mural project. Thanks for watching. If you liked watching this, I'd really appreciate your support. Give it a like, a comment, and subscribe to my channel to see the next creative adventure.